Today you will learn how to rewrite the equations and formulas, which is an important topic for your EOC exam. Focus on question number 12, rewriting the equations. Write the equation so that the y is a function of x. When they are asking you to write the y as a function of x, they basically want you to write y is equal to, and on the right side you need all the x terms to come together. So if you look at question number 5x plus 4y equals 10, you need to get just the y alone, which means you need to get y equals something. So which basically means you don't need this 5x. If you want to get rid of the 5x, all you have to do is do the opposite. So 5x, you take it as positive. The opposite of positive 5x will be negative 5x on the left. And on the right, you need to write it on the side because you cannot write it below the 10 because they are totally different terms. Now you put a line. 5x and negative 5x cancel out, and you are just ending up with 4y equals 10 minus 5x. And now if you look at the y, remember you need to write the y as a function of x. You need to get the y alone. So which means you want to get rid of the 4. The 4 is multiplying y. The opposite of multiplying by 4 will be divide by 4 on this side, divide by 4 here, and divide by 4. All you're basically doing is dividing by 4 on for every single term. 4 divided by 4 cancels out to give you 1. 1 times y is just a y, and 10 divided by 4 gives you 2.5 minus 5 divided by 4 gives you 1.25x, which is the answer. Focus on question number 15. You want to write the y as a function of x, which basically means you just need the y to be alone. So if you need to get the y alone, you don't need this negative 6x. So you want to get rid of the negative 6x by doing the opposite. So the opposite of negative 6x will be positive 6x on the right side. And on the left side is where I caution you to make sure that you do not put it under the 14. You need to put it on the side, because these two are totally different terms. You cannot combine them. So negative 6x, positive 6x cancels out. The only thing on the right side you are left with is just the 7y and the equal sign. Now positive 6x, I'm going to write it as 6x, and 14, you take it as positive 14. So positive 14, make sure that you put it with a sign. Now you want to get rid of the 7 because you want to get the y alone. 7 is multiplying. The opposite of multiplying will be divide by 7 here, divide by 7 here, and divide by 7 here. 7 divided by 7 gives you a 1. 1 times y gives you just the y. And 6 over 7x, just leave it as that, as it is. And 14 divided by 7 gives you a 2, which is the correct answer. And you have written the y as a function of x. The reason why I am leaving the 6 over 7 as a fraction is because it is not a fraction that can divide and give you a decimal that terminates. Let's focus on question number 19. It's still the same question. You want to extract the y alone. You want to get the y and write it as a function of x. So which basically means that 6 is watching it so close, you cannot get to it until you get rid of the 2. 2 is a positive 2. You look at the sign before it. The opposite of positive 2 in this case is going to be a negative 2 on the left, and in this case I can write it under the 4, negative 2, because that is a number and this is a number, which is basically a constant. 2 and negative 2 cancels out, and you have 6y equals 3x, and positive 4, negative 2 combines to give you just the positive 2. And remember, you want to get the y alone, which means you want to write the y as a function of x. So divide by 6, because 6 is multiplying to the opposite. Divide by 6 on the left, divide by 6 over here, and divide by 6 over here. 6 divided by 6 gives you a 1. 1 times y just gives you a y. And 3 divided by 6, x is nothing but 0.5x plus 2 over 6, 2 and 6, they both look friendly enough. 2 divided by 2 gives you a 1, and 6 divided by 2 gives you a 3. You can have the answer that looks like this, or the same step, I can write it as y equals 3 and 6, they both look friendly enough. So 3 divided by 3 gives you a 1, and 6 divided by 3 gives you a 2x plus 1/3. This and this, they are both the same. The only thing is I have simplified 3 over 6 to give you a half and 2 over 6 to simplify give you a 1/3. And 1 over 2 is still the same as 0.5. This question is really important, and this is how your EOC question probably will be. Rewriting the formulas. You are asked to solve the formula for the indicated variable. Focus on question number 21. The surface area for prism S equals 2b plus pH. Solve for H, which basically means they are asking you to find what H is supposed to be. So you need to find something that looks like H equals something. So the H needs to be alone. So let's focus on S equals 2b plus pH. P is multiplying H and it is watching it so close, we will come to it last. Let's get rid of this. 2b. 2b, you take it as positive. Look at the sign before. The opposite of positive 2b in this case will be negative 2b on the right and negative 2b on the left. Remember, you cannot write it under the S because they are totally different terms. B stands for the base and S stands for the... So you cannot combine them. B stands for the base and S stands for the surface area. So 2b and negative 2b cancels out, and on the right side you have just the pH equals negative 2b. And now if you are confused, look at the sign for S. You do not see any sign. Take it as positive. So positive S. Once you get to this step, now you got to remember that you're trying to solve for H, which means you do not want the P tagging along. P is multiplying. The opposite of multiplying in this case will be divide by P on this side and divide by P on this side and divide by P on this side. So you're basically dividing it for every single term. So P divided by P gives you a 1. 1 times H gives you just a H. And you have negative 2P plus S over P. Sometimes in your EOC, this step will also be simplified to look like this. If you look on the denominator is the P. So I'm going to combine them. So since the denominator is P, I'm just going to add the numerators to give you H. So your answer choices might look like this, or your answer choices might look like this. You need to understand how to convert this to this so you can recognize the correct answer. Once again, this question, write the equation so that y is a function of x, and let's focus on question number 26. I got 8x minus 5x plus 21 equals 36 minus 6y. If you look on the right side, you want to find what y is. So they're asking you to write the y as a function of x, which basically means they want you to write y equals something. So if you remember that y is on the right side, look on the left side. On the left side, you have x and x. This is your equal sign. So if they are on the same side, you're going to combine them together. So I'm going to combine this with this. So 8x combines with negative 5x to give you 3x. So plus 21, I'm going to bring it exactly as it is, equals 36 minus 6y. Now remember, you want to get y alone. If you want to get y alone, the negative 6 is watching it so close, you cannot get to it until you get rid of the 36. 36 is positive. Let's go in with the negative 36. Negative 36 on the right side and negative 36 on the left side. In this case, I don't have to write it on the side because 21 and negative 36, we can combine them together. They are both constants. 36 and negative 36 cancels out. So on the right side, you just have a negative 6y and the equal sign. Now I'm going to write the 3x. Positive 21 and negative 36 combines to give you negative 15. Now I want to find the y alone. I want to find what y is. So I'm going to divide this side by negative 6, and I'm going to divide this by negative 6, and I'm going to divide this by negative 6. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 gives you a 1, and 1 times y gives you just a y. And on the left side, I have 3 and negative 6. Sometimes your answer will look like as a decimal, sometimes you will look as a fraction. So if you look at the 3 and the 6, they both look friendly enough, they both can be divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 gives you a 1 and 6 divided by 3 gives you a 2. So I have negative 1 over 2x. The negative side, which is on the bottom, I can either write it for the bottom or I can write it for the numerator, or I can just put it in the middle. All you have to do is make sure that it is just tagging along in one place. Whether you write it for the numerator, whether you write it for the denominator, whether you put it in the middle, it does not matter. Now let's focus on the second fraction. You got 15 and 6. 15 and 6 looks friendly enough, they both can be divided by 3. So you got 15 divided by 3 gives you a 5 and 6 divided by 3 gives you just a 2. And now negative and negative, two negatives becomes a positive. So now you have positive 5 over 2 equals y. In your last step, sometimes on your EOC, you need to combine this to give you the final step, which in this case it might look like the denominator is 2. So I'm going to combine them together to give you just the common denominator, and I have negative 1x plus 5 equals this. Or you are also going to find it, you're going to find that they're going to drop out the negative 1, and you're just going to find just the negative x plus 5 divided by 2 equals y, which possibly could be the final answer. Now, this is a question I want you guys to practice, and when you come back to the next day, please make sure that you know how to do this on the board. So you are asked to write y as a function of x with the following, and you got the equation. If you are not sure how to do this question, rewind the video, watch it again, understand it again, and then continue. Also make sure that you have all your notes together in one place.